Hello there, and welcome to the Potent Puffin podcast. And I'm your host, Jake Thomas. And sitting here beside me is Kita, the Yelk Hound. Now, forgive me now if I sound a little congested or kind of wheezy a little bit, but I've had really bad sinus infection this past week, and the drainage is stopping and going, and I'm not breathing too much from my nose right now. So I may sound a little off this week, just forgive me. But I'm getting better, getting over it. Been cutting out the coffee and replacing with hot tea, trying to get that steam to hit up the nostrils and clear it out. But other than that, I've been doing pretty great this week. Been feeling good. Got a lot done today. Today, I got some unexpected work done. I ended up rearranging our living room, which is something that we have been putting off for a couple of weeks now. We've been saying we want to rearrange it, and I finally today I just did it. And it took a couple hours, did most of it while Brandy was out of the house at her doctor's appointment, so she didn't have to worry about moving anything. And she just got to enjoy the new rearrangement of the living room. And it's good. It's great. It feels a lot bigger. There's actually less space, I think, but it feels bigger just because the space is being utilized better now. And it's opened up more better for Kalsin and Jackson to play. So that's good. That's going to be fun, exciting. Brady even got them this new little, like, I don't know, they're kind of like padded block kind of things for them to climb on and they can slide down. So that's exciting. They're really looking forward to that. Kalsin was playing with them this afternoon after Jackson left because we didn't bring him in until after he left because that's just when we happened to pick him up from the people Brandy bought him from. And so that happened today. I did a lot of moving stuff. I only broke one thing because I didn't realize there was some breakable stuff up on top of the shelf that I was moving, and so I left it up there because I thought it wasn't breakable, and I didn't think it was going to fall. And then right when I got it, the shelf to where I wanted to move it to, this thing fell and shattered. But that was the only thing I broke, and Brandy was there when it happened, so I didn't have to hide it from her because she knew. And that was most of today, and it's nice because I can actually see the TV a lot better from my chair now, and the couch has good view of the TV as well, and all the seating is to where Brandy can sit in the living room now, and she can still see the kids whether they're in the living room or they're in the dining area, wherever they are in that part of the house. She can see them without having to turn her head, so that's good. That's something that's bothered her is if she wanted to sit on the couch, she wouldn't have a full view of where the kids might be playing. So now she can do that, and that's awesome. And so just going on with that, I want to say it really put some stuff into perspective, moving things around and rearranging. There's a lot of things that came up that I didn't think about, like, where certain pieces were going to end up. I thought they would go in one place, but then I'd move it and be like, oh, that didn't work, or that causes an issue with something else, and I'd have to kind of work with it to get it to fit and still go with how we were wanting the living room to look. But I was thinking, that's a lot like life too. Sometimes we start out to do something and there's little snags along the way, and we have to either, we got the option of stopping and not doing it, or the better option, working through it and trying to figure it out. And eventually, not everything in the living room was exactly how we wanted, just because there's going to be some moving around in other rooms of the house that's going to have to happen so that we can put some stuff in there, because we're really wanting certain things out of the living room completely. But that's not happening yet because we got to wait until space in other rooms becomes available. but I found ways to make it work and keep that stuff kind of like out of sight mostly and out of the way so it's not bothering us. And, that's how it is with life problems. You gotta, just because what you want isn't readily available, it doesn't mean there's not something you can't do about the problem still to help you get through until your ultimate dream goal is readily attainable. And oftentimes, those little small adjustments is what's going to make that long term objective obtainable and more realistic. Because if we didn't rearrange the living room, it wouldn't create the motivation to get those other rooms uh, rearranged to fit this other stuff in there. And so that's how life problems are. Sometimes you got to do little adjustments, and that's what's going to make your end goal obtainable. So that's just a little food for thought that I kind of had today while rearranging the furniture. And so I just find it neat that you can look at your everyday tasks like that and, get something out of it other than you did your everyday task. So that's some food for thought there. And other than rearranging the house, not been too much going on. Kalsin's been excited because last week was Easter, and so he got his Easter basket, and he got this racetrack that he's been wanting really bad. It's got a gorilla. He assumes it's King Kong because it is a big gorilla, but it has 4 cars that go down, and they trip this little thing and causes the monkey to swing his arm. And usually only one car makes it to the end of the track because it's got other little obstacles, and they all like finally crash into each other usually, or they don't make the jump right. So only one makes it out, which is pretty cool. It's interesting to watch that with him because he is just so excited about that. And we were at Walmart the other day, and he was trying to buy it, and we're like, no, don't get it, because we had already bought it for him, and we're waiting for Easter to give it to him. But he did, while we were at Walmart that day, he found this one Hot Wheels. It's a gold Mustang. And I guess I had to ask my brother about this, but so Kalsin sees it, and he's like, it's Roger Dodger. And he's like going on about Roger Dodger. I'm like, what is Roger Dodger, kid? He's like, it's this Hot Wheels. I'm like, why is it Roger Dodger? He's like, that's just his name. It's Roger Dodger. But nowhere on the packaging does it say Roger Dodger. So I don't know why it's Roger Dodger. So I asked Brandy why he keeps calling this car Roger Dodger. And she's like, I don't know. Cregan kept calling one of the Hot Wheels Roger Dodger when we were visiting my brother back in February. And so I asked my brother, and I was like, hey, Stu, is there a Hot Wheel named Roger Dodger? And he's like, oh yeah, that's one of the ones that Cregan has on his game on the iPad. So I guess there's a gold Mustang, I'm assuming, on a Hot Wheels game available on iPads that they call Roger Dodger. And that's become his favorite Hot Wheels. And he kind of treats it like a stuffed animal. He carries it with him, and he's like, this is Roger Dodger. It's like, all right, we get it. You like this Hot Wheels, and its name is Roger Dodger. You don't have to keep saying Roger Dodger 100 times. And so that's been interesting. And it's funny because Roger Dodger doesn't really work on the King Kong track too well because it's too wide. And so at the very end, it gets stuck. And I just find that kind of funny. So he has to use other cars for that track. And so, other than that, it's been really chill here. We've not had much going on. Like I said, we did the rearranging today. So that was like the big project for the week, and we got that knocked out. So I'm glad that's over with. We can start moving on to smaller projects now. And yeah, that'll be interesting. And yeah, and this cold it's not really cold. It's just a chronic sinus infection I have been going on for like 5 years now, and it doesn't really get better. Like I go to the doctor, they'll give me something, and it'll get better for like a week or two, and then it's back. And so, yeah, it's been a long going battle, and it's just on the really acting up side this week. So, yeah, that's kind of been that. Like, I've been doing all kinds of things. Like, just the best thing I found is just taking a hot washcloth and sitting it on my face, letting it sit for a couple minutes and breathing in that hot water. That really helps open up the airways for me, anyways. So that's interesting. Don't know why, but yeah. Yeah, and I try those like nasal rinses, and I hate those because honestly, it just makes me feel like I'm drowning. It's weird. Like, I thought it's supposed to just go in one nostril, out the other, but somehow it goes up there and it starts getting into my mouth. And yeah, I don't do those nasal rinses too much anymore because it feels awful. But they kind of work though, because they do get a lot of mucus out, but not always. It's kind of like a coin toss on if it's going to work or not. So there we go. There's that. That's like the big thing in my life right now is dealing with a sinus infection. And yeah, it was pretty interesting though after I got the living room arranged today because Kita, she walked out there and she looked at it all, and you could tell she was not ready for that. And she just looked at it, looked at me like, Dad, what is this? Why have you done this? And then walked off. So, yeah. I don't know if she approved. I thought she was going to jump on the couch at first, which she hasn't been allowed on the couch in a while. I'm the only one who ever lets her on the couch. So, unless it's only me home, she's not allowed on the couch. And I thought she was going to just jump up there because I could see it in her eyes. She knew that she could get on that couch and look out the tall window that she normally can't look out. And I thought she was going to jump up there so she could look out that window. And she probably will at some point. I'm sure we'll catch her doing it. And yeah. So, yeah, I don't really have too much else to talk about this week. It's been pretty chill. I like it when it's chill. Nothing crazy at work. It's been good at work. Uh, Nothing too crazy there going on, so that's good. I did have one of my coworkers call out sick recently, and so I ended up working with our sergeant, the dispatch sergeant, and she hasn't really worked as like actually dispatching in a while. So like the whole time I was like, oh, let's just keep this night easy. And luckily, we didn't get any calls that night. It was crazy. I liked it. I like it when we don't get calls. I mean, I like it when we do get like. I don't like that we get calls because that means something bad's happening, but it does help the time pass and it makes things interesting. But it's also nice having those nights where there's no calls because, hey, no one needs help. So everyone's being good. Yay. And yeah. So that's the weird thing about my job. It's like, do I want it busy or not busy? Because if it's busy, it helps the time pass, but, there's not necessarily the best situations going on. But if it's not busy, time really does drag. But then, oh, hey, there's nothing majorly terribly going on tonight, which is kind of nice to know. And yeah, that's about it. If you enjoy, give me a follow or subscribe. Check me out on Twitter or Instagram. I try and stay fairly active on there, and I like to interact with anyone who wants to interact there. And check out my Facebook page as well. It's all Potent Puffin. And if you like to read, check out my blogs. I got going on the Potent Puffin website. And on Friday, there will be a new episode of Paranormal Puffin. I am talking about the Wampus Cat this week on there, so go check that out if you're interested in learning about the Wampus Cat and what that is and kind of what its origins are. So I'll catch you all next week. And yeah, everyone have a good week.